Now that summer is here and school's out, I'm finally doing it. I'm going backpacking around Southeast Asia.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You're going to have so much fun. I'm so happy for you.
I know, right? I'm so excited. I've been planning this forever. Southeast Asia is a whole different world.
Don't worry, you'll like it there. Which countries will you be visiting in Southeast Asia? And how long would your backpacking trip be?
I'm planning on visiting Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Bali. My entire backpacking trip will be a little over 2 months.
Nice! 2 months would be perfect to visit all those countries.
Thank you. I know you went backpacking solo in Southeast Asia 2 years ago. Do you have any tips, advice, and information you can share with me to help me prepare and plan ahead before my big trip?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I made a list of 30 things to know before traveling to Southeast Asia. All right, buckle up. This list could save your wallet, your stomach, and your sanity.
Perfect. I'm taking note of them.
The first thing you need to do is to research and make sure that the countries you plan to visit are safe for solo travelers. Especially if you're a female solo traveler, make sure that you double check the safety aspect, check the dress code, and ensure that things like short swimsuits are allowed. Countries like Cambodia and Vietnam are still very conservative, so dress appropriately.
Before you travel to Southeast Asia, you need to check for the travel safety to see if the country is safe for you as a solo traveler. Especially if you're a female solo traveler, you need to be extra, extra careful and make sure it's safe for female travelers. And then you also need to check about the dress code, if shorts, swimsuit, like those kind of outfits are allowed. So first thing to do is to come to the travel advisory and check what is the rating here. So you see, most of these countries in Southeast Asia, Thailand, high degree of caution because of the safety issues there. Cambodia as well, high degree of caution. You have to exercise high degree of caution, and so even for Vietnam as well. So adding on to the safety concern, I do not recommend, personally, I do not recommend females to travel to Cambodia alone. Thailand is okay, Vietnam is okay, Indonesia is okay. But Cambodia, I do not recommend females to travel there alone. Just because it's not designed to receive tourists, it's not as developed as the other countries. So I would not recommend a female solo traveler to go there by themselves. But if you must go, I would say go to the biggest cities like Siem Reap, the capital, because it's more suitable, it's more designed to welcome and receive and cater to tourists. So that I would recommend the big city in Cambodia for the tourists to go and enjoy. The next thing about the safety issues, the safety concerns, the safety measures to take is if you're a Canadian, register as a Canadian abroad. So this allows the government to notify you in case there's an emergency, and this allows the government to make provisions to get you out of there and bring you home safely. So this is something to do if you are planning a vacation outside of Canada. So go ahead and just register online here and then have that. And then if you want to know more why you should register, just read up on that. And then one thing to do before traveling to Southeast Asia or any other country is to notify your bank, because banks, they do everything it takes to protect you. So if you did not inform your bank that you are traveling to Southeast Asia and then they see transactions going in and out from your bank account in Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, they're gonna think that someone stole your bank account and is making purchases with your card. So all they will block everything. They will block all access to your account and you won't be able to get money out of your account. And that is something you do not want on your trip. So before you go on your Southeast Asia trip, make a trip to your bank and let them know that you will be traveling. Because if you did not let your bank know, add an abnormal on your account, and then this would block your card. I did meet a guy who this exact situation happened to him. He forgot to inform his bank, and then his bank canceled all his cards, thinking that it was a scam. Someone stole his information and was making purchases international in Vietnam, Thailand, and then he could not get access to any of his cards. Nothing would work. So make sure you inform your bank to let them know you're traveling so that they can put that on your bank account so that it does not flag it as suspicious activities. So the next thing to do is to make sure that you have converted some of your Canadian dollars, some of your US dollars into the local currency. For example, you have converted some money to the local Thai baht or the Vietnamese dong, just to make sure that you have some cash on hand when you get to the airport. Because when you get to the airport, you might need to buy some SIM card, or you might need to buy some food, or you might need to pay for bus ticket, and they do not accept debit or credit card. So you will need some cash to pay for some little expenses here and there. This will save you a lot of headache and frustration. Trust me. So make sure before you go to your bank and get them to convert some of your Canadian to the local currency. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks. Sometimes at the bank, it takes 2 weeks for them to order the currency, the local currency for you. So make sure you do this way in advance. There are other places where you can get some better rates, but do this at least 2 weeks in advance just to give the bank enough time to get the currency that you need, because sometimes it might be too last minute and they won't be able to get it in time for you. So make sure you do this ahead of time before your trip.
While you're still at the bank, ask them about international credit or debit cards that do not have foreign transaction fees. This would save you so much money in ATM fees and foreign transaction fees. In Southeast Asia, cash is primarily used, so that means that you'll need to keep withdrawing money from the ATM to pay for everything. Each time you withdraw money from any foreign ATM, you'll get charged twice. First, from the country in Southeast Asia for using a foreign card in their ATM, and the second from your bank for using a foreign ATM that is not your bank's ATM. So believe me, these fees add up over time. The next thing to do is to have an emergency cash for emergencies. So in case the bank does accidentally cancel your cards or your wallet gets stolen, you will have some money that you can use to get by in the meantime.
So check and apply way ahead of time, because some countries it takes up to a month before your visa will be approved. So check to make sure, because you do not want to get there and at immigration you do not have your visa, because they will send you right back. So to check if you're Canadian, so you come to this website here, and then so you come down to this website here to do a visa quick check, and you type in, you look for the country that you want to visit, let's say Thailand. Okay, so it tells you like if you're doing business, you need a business visa, but if it's for tourists, you do not need a visa for up to 60 days. So this is fine. So as Canadians traveling to Thailand, you do not need a visa for up to 60 days. Perfect. And then, but you do need to show some proof of, like you booked your hotel, you booked your return trips and stuff. You do need to show that at immigration, but you do not need a visa. So they might ask you where you're gonna stay, so you need to show them a proof of like a hotel accommodation or a hostel that you booked for the night, so they know that you have somewhere that you're going to stay. And then, so for the next thing, you check for the other countries that you want to stay, like you're going to visit. So for Vietnam, let's say we're also going to Vietnam. So for Vietnam, you do need a visa and you do need to apply ahead of time. So this is how you would start your Vietnam visa. You would start here. So you can apply for an e-visa. That might take up to a month. So make sure you apply for your e-visa before your trip, way before. Like give it a month, because sometimes it takes a month, sometimes less, but make sure that you get that sorted out before you go on your trip. So the next thing you do is to check for, so this is how you would check for all the other countries that you want to visit. So let's say you wanted to go to Indonesia, Bali, then you would click on that as well. And then, so it says here that a visa is required, and then you can start your visa. But you can get a visa on arrival. You can get a visa at the airport. So you don't need to worry about applying in advance. You can apply in advance if you want to, but you can get one at the airport, like when you get there. There are certain requirements that you need before you can get that visa, but as a Canadian, you do not need to apply in advance. So yes, you can do this as well if you are if you are from US. So you can as well check for if so yeah, so I went ahead and typed in Indonesia here. So it says exercise increased caution. It tells you all of that. So it tells you that your passport has to be 6 months. You need two blank visa pages. And then you do need a visa. So you can get either a visa or a visa on arrival. And then, so it tells you all of this information here. And then you can just read up on the visa on arrival. You may apply for an visa on arrival in advance if you are entering Indonesia through this airport. So before you can get like your visa to enter Indonesia, this is what you need. You do need a passport at least 6 months valid. You do need a departure date with a return or onward flight booking. So you do need a round trip or something that shows that you are planning to leave the country, that you're not planning to stay there. So they will ask you for a return trip or something that shows that you're not going to overstay. And then you do need to pay $35. So it's valid for 30 days. So yes, you would go ahead and do this for every country that you want to visit just to make sure that it's safe, because you do not want to get there and then be told that you cannot stay because you don't have a visa. So you can go ahead and search another country like Thailand. So this is for US citizens. So so again, you do need a 6 months valid. One page is required for entry stamp. In Indonesia, it was 2 pages. So tourist visa, no, you don't need a tourist visa if your stay is less than 60 days. So pre-approval online registration is required. So this is what you have to do. You have to come here and make sure that all your visa information is well planned out in advance, because you do not want nightmares. Like I literally saw people at the airport not knowing what to do because they had no idea that they needed the visa. So make sure you research about visas. So we can check one more country here. We can check Vietnam. So you can check Vietnam to make sure. So is tourist visa required? Yes. So you do need a tourist visa. This is no vaccination is required here. So again, you just have to apply for your visa. So you can also apply for an e-visa. Most important thing you need to do before your trip. Make sure that you have checked that you need a visa and then you have applied.
Make sure you scan all your passports, IDs, visas, and send them to yourself in an email. Have a spare copy of everything. Have a paper copy and a digital copy. Even having spare copies of things, like your house keys and car keys and leave the copies with your family members. This can save your life if your bag gets lost or something.
So the next thing, the fourth thing you need to know before your trip is to check if you need any kind of vaccinations. So again, on the same website here, you can check. So still on the US website here for you, for citizens, US citizens, it says here that yellow fever may be required if arriving from certain countries. So you do need to check which vaccines are required. Some vaccines that are usually required, like the malaria vaccinations. So do check for all the countries that you plan to visit. Make sure that you check for all the countries and know which vaccines you need. You can also book an appointment with your family doctor and ask them if you need a vaccine or not, and they can advise you. Because if you do need a vaccine, it's important that you take the vaccine within 4 to 6 weeks before your departure date, because some vaccines do not take effect right away. So they need at least 4 to 6 weeks for you to be fully protected. So go ahead and check and make sure that you need a vaccine or not, and also check with your family doctor just to make sure, and then book them way in advance so that you are fully protected from malaria, fever, dengue fever, all kinds of sicknesses over there, just to make sure that you enjoy your trip and that you do not spend your trip sick in the hospital.
Make sure you get a travel insurance because it is super important to have insurance in case you get sick. It is super important to apply way in advance so that your insurance arrives in time before your trip. Medical cost is not cheap, especially in Southeast Asia, and you could go bankrupt paying for it out of pocket.
Okay. So the next thing is to research about the scams in that country and know what scams are most common so that you do not fall for any of them. So some of the crimes, some of the scams there, they have like petty crimes, pickpocketings, bag snatching. These occur so often, especially in busy cities. Purse snatching is so common. So do not just carry your bag loosely on your arm. Make sure you have a fanny pack around your shoulder just so that it's secure. Also, there are lots of like scams in tourist areas. So read up on that and just make sure that you're aware. Make sure that you are aware of all these scams here. There's the ATMs. So read up on that. Also, there's a very important scam that I want to let you guys know. Cannabis is not legal in Vietnam, not in Cambodia, and illegal in Indonesia. So Thailand is okay, a little bit, you can get away with it, but in Vietnam, you can go to jail because it's illegal. Who was scammed? The guy told him, "Oh yes, this is legit. Like, look at it, it's legit." Sold him some cannabis, and then it ended up being fake. It was not the real stuff. So do not fall for that because it's illegal. What whoever is selling this to you in the street is selling you mixtures of different weird stuff that is not real. Do not fall for this. I've seen lots of tourists fall for this. Somebody I met literally was crying because he lost so much money. He bought from a local who told him this is real, and even gave him like a sample to try, and they smoked a joint, which was real. But then when he went back to his hostel and tried to smoke more of that, he found out that it was just garbage, like not good. Garbage stuff that is bad for your health. So be aware, lots of scams like this And even sometimes they come up to you smiling and ask you, oh, do you want me to take a picture? Do not give your phone to a stranger to take you a picture because they would disappear with your phone. So be cautious, avoid the scam. Sometimes they might even ask you if you want to clean your shoes, and then they clean your shoes and then they ask you for so much money. Even in Thailand, when you do like water activities, there's a scam where they would ask you, oh, yes, go ahead and do some jet skiing. And then when you come back, they tell you, oh, you destroyed the jet ski. You have to pay us 10,000 grand. So, so make sure you choose a reputable company and that take a picture of the jet ski, take a picture of everything when you took it, and then when you returned it, just to make sure that you can prove that you did not destroy your items, because this happens a lot. They hold onto your passport, and then when you come back, they tell you, "Oh, you ruined our jet ski. Now you have to pay out 7,000, unless we won't release your passport." So make sure that you are researching and choosing a reputable company, and just being careful, because lots of lots of scams out there. If you're backpacking, do not overpack, because laundry is easy and affordable to do all over Southeast Asia. So you can do laundry whenever you want. You do not need to overpack anything at all. And most hostels would be glad to do your laundry for you. And just pack some light, breathable clothes, because with the humid weather, with the hot weather, your clothes do dry up quickly. So you do not need to overpack. So free up your luggage and your backpack, because you're going to be carrying that backpack on your back everywhere you go. So do yourself a favor and only pack essentials. Pack light, necessities, medications. Make sure you have a hoodie, flip flops, and a nice shoe just in case you want to go out or whatever. But do pack light. So as soon as you arrive, make sure it's easy to get a local SIM card or an eSIM at the airport and connect immediately. Because when you get there, when you arrive at the airport, you will need internet to be able to book an Uber, to be able to check for which buses you need, to be able to check how to get to your hostel, to be able to call by WhatsApp. Like, you would need internet. So make sure you get a SIM card at the airport. It will be expensive at the airport, but if you can get an eSIM, like an electronic SIM card, then that will be easier for you. But if not, you can always download an offline map so that you can be able to get around. And then when you get out of the airport and go into the city, then you can find cheaper internet rates. They have different plans, like 7 days, 2 weeks, 1 month. So buy according to how long you plan to stay. But do make sure that you have internet, because this will make your life way easier and it will take away the stress and frustration, especially if you're traveling solo. So make sure to use Google Maps to download whichever city you're going to be in, so that if you don't have internet, you can be able to get around with the offline map. So go ahead and type the name of the city you're going to be in. I type Siem Reap, the capital of Cambodia, and then it shows you here the map of Siem Reap. So you can always add more if you want or not. It just takes up much room. So then next thing you would do is then to scroll all the way, and then you see where it says download offline map. So this would allow you to be able to get around in Siem Reap without any Wi-Fi, without any internet. So you can go ahead and then click download. So it tells you, do you want to download this area? So you might say, okay, this is fine, or you might say, I need to get the whole thing. So then it takes the whole thing. So be careful, because it takes up much room. You don't have that much download space, but this should be enough for you to get around Siem Reap. So then you would say, okay, because that's the capital there, Siem Reap. and then you can be able to get around everywhere here without any internet. So then you go and click download at the bottom. So now it's downloading. So once it's done, okay, so now it's almost done. So once you don't have internet, this would automatically allow you to travel without. So you see, it says, so that's done. So you can type a city like Hanoi in Vietnam. So this whole entire area is called Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. So you can do the same thing. Go ahead and download the offline map. Download the offline map. So I recommend that whenever you are done with one city, go ahead and delete it to make up room, because if you download all the cities, you would not have enough room. So once you're done with Siem Reap, delete it and then download Hanoi. So you see where it says download offline map, go ahead and click that. So it shows you all of Hanoi. So this is all of Hanoi, and then it says download may take up to 100 MB of your free space. So this is why it's important to delete any maps that you have downloaded that you no longer need. So it's gonna take up 100 MB of my free space. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. So now it's downloading. So I have all of Hanoi. So if I don't have internet, I can still be able to go around Hanoi without internet. This would kick in immediately. So now it's downloading. So to find your downloads, you just have to quickly go here, and then on you click in your initial on the Google Maps, and then you would have to look for offline maps. Click offline maps. So now it shows you all of the downloads. So it says some may have expired, but so these are the ones that we just downloaded here. So we downloaded Hanoi, Siem Reap. So yeah, that's how you can see which areas. So when you don't have internet, so that would kick in. So you can delete it when you want, or you can update it as you wish, but that's how. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it because I'm not going to Hanoi. So I'm just gonna delete, and then I'm gonna go ahead and delete Siem Reap because I'm not going to Siem Reap. So just to free up space. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete. And then I'm gonna go ahead and delete this other one here. So it says delete. So I delete, and then delete. So yeah.
Answer to use Google. Translate to download the local languages offline. Downloading the local languages offline would help prevent you from getting lost without being able to communicate and ask for directions and help. Also, learn a few simple words in the local languages. A smile and hello or thank you go a long way. Make sure you can also say yes, no, please, bye.
Another important thing to do before your trip is to research their famous holidays and some important cultural practice. Researching their famous holiday is good for two things. One, it allows you to plan ahead, as flights might be expensive and good accommodations might be fully booked and expensive. Two, the city might be busier and rowdier than usual. Three, roads might be closed. Services such as buses, markets, etc. might be closed, and it might be more difficult to get around. Also, check for cultural practices. Sundays in some cultures are called rest day or Sabbath, so it might not be easy to find services open on Sunday, or if you do, services might be reduced from a short time to a short time.
There you have it. If you do these things before your trip, you'll avoid most of the headaches that many new travelers encounter on their first trip to Southeast Asia. Stay tuned for part 2. In part 2, I will go over some key essentials items to pack in your suitcase or backpack to ensure you have everything you need. Trust me, it's important to make sure you pack smart and pack essential items that will be beneficial for your trip. So sit tight, and I'll now share the part two with you shortly. But first, I need to drink some of my smoothie now.